Coming up next is part 2. We take a closer look at the role of culture, what Erik calls programming, and how change becomes possible through unscrambling programs, a concept he's developed to help individuals consciously break from limiting patterns. In the previous episode, we explored Erik's journey and the inspiration behind Amaseu. We discussed the value of authenticity, the importance of recognizing and developing potential, and how creating space for transformation is at the heart of meaningful leadership. In part 2, we turn our focus to the power of culture, how it shapes us, how we're programmed by it, and how that programming can be consciously challenged and rewritten. We'll examine what this looks like in action and explore the tools used to unscramble these patterns, and also delve into the powerful link between leadership and creativity. Two concepts not often associated, yet deeply connected. Let's dive in. You know what really fascinated me from, obviously we had a few conversations before, and to my mind, I thought how well you use creativity in order to break that mold of what leadership should be, what kind of separating the human side from the professional side and all that. And tell us a bit more about how you design your programs, because it's, to my mind, is quite creative in bringing out that human side, regardless of the culture, which you once told me was more of a facade that fizzles away once you get deep in these experiences. Can you share some of your strategies?
Well, I can try. It's more like we have design principles that come from how we started, how human beings function, what our needs are. And then on top of that, we are trapped in a world of thinking. And much of our world, also your academic environment, is based on our thinking. And I see our thinking as a fantastic tool. But I also see it's like our right or our left hand. Mm-hmm. It's capable of a lot, but it's by far what our entire system can do. So one of the first things, and then, the long story is more that we are being programmed genetically, even over generations. Like roses create roses, human beings create human beings with the same DNA. So with traumas and whatever and insights. And then our parents are teaching us what's good and bad, what's right and wrong, etc. All kind of things that we are learning and that we think is true. But it's our parents teaching us, and our brothers or sisters and uncles and aunts, and then become the teachers in school. And then there's the media and the social media, the billboards, the advertisements, the news. It is like bombarding us with how life is, telling us what is dangerous, where it's dangerous, what's right, what's wrong. And we start to see the world like that, which is a way to see the world. Because you can see in different parts of the world, people see it differently. They've learned about it differently. So we're being programmed. And then we have 60,000 thoughts, something around that. There's all kind of scientific studies around it. It can be more or less a day, of which 59,000 are repetitive. The same thoughts.
Say that again. So we have 60,000 thoughts.
Yeah.
And how much is repetitive?
59,000.
Wow.
It's about the keys that you need to bring, about the book that you shouldn't forget, about the presentation that should be on time. It's about the WhatsApp that you didn't get. It's about the person that didn't call and especially emotional turbulence, love time turbulence, and our mind goes like a hamster wheel. And the thoughts are just, and these are all the same thoughts. The lack of self-confidence, insecurity, repeating itself. And we are reconfirming ourselves like that. It's funny because as human beings, we are like that. It also makes us good, or can make us good. Because if we repeat the good thoughts all the time, good things start to happen. That's a hard part. So I needed a little bit of this introduction to explain the start of our programs. Because one of the design principles is that we have to scramble that program thinking. Because from that programmed thinking come the same solutions, come the same answers. It's like a train track. And you're on the rails. And it goes where it goes. It can't go anywhere else. And then there's trainings of out-of-the-box thinking and still thinking. But the thinking is the problem. It's not that you step to the left and okay, and then you see different. No, it's this... we are being programmed, which is profound. It's really profound. But the good thing is, it's a layer. Behind our thinking is our authentic self. Our consciousness is behind that.
Behind our thinking is our authentic self.
Yeah, it's behind our
Wow.
thinking. Our thinking is a tool. We are not our thinking. Because it would mean when we wouldn't think, we are not. And we are. When we breathe and don't think, we are still who we are. Even without our name. Without our identity, we are who we are. Without our job, we are still who we are. To scramble that whole part, that identity, that convictions, that our script is no longer the one, let's say, telling the story, we have a process that helps people to, let's say, scramble the programming and create access to the authentic self, which is something that we usually do on the first day, but in a fun way. So we don't do it like the Marines, burning down people, or in student corps when they start, it's first burn down people to zero and make them feel nobody, and then start to build them up. That's how they call it. And we immediately start to activate on the positive side, on the potential side, but personal, very personal. And with a lot of movement, with a lot of changes, very colorful, with a lot of joyful information, and the proper process steps along the way, where people are in the unknown, but are connected to themselves and to others. So it's super safe, it's super, let's say, meticulous organized. And that's like the start of the process before we go into who am I? Because if we wouldn't do the scramble, if we wouldn't, let's say, create space to go to the authentic self, you will get stuck in the thinking. And this is where the emotional part comes in, because we all have our childhood. One way or the other, we have experiences there. One way or the other, our parents have given us certain things, genetically or personally. We have things that we coped with. We developed coping behavior. We have certain sadness. We have certain happiness. That's all stored in us. There's great books also written about it, how the body keeps the score, or Eckhart Tolle has written nice books on the pain body, and there's a zillion. And that's what then I think, if I see what in the past 3 decades has become available and accessible, is this type of knowledge and experience. So it is there. And getting in touch with it and not being scared of it, because it's simple, it is you. That you covered it up or that it was put away doesn't mean it's not there. And a lot of it is often limiting to live our potential.
Yes.
But it's scary to go there. But we have a process where it becomes actually quite pleasant to go there. And then the emotions come out in all kinds of different ways without being pushed. So we also believe that that it's all very organic. I don't like to push people to probe on their emotional side. People will open up in the pace and the space that's right for them, where they like to go, where they can be, what they can handle. And that's something that I've learned. Yeah, you can trust the process. People are there. And when the student is ready, the teachers are there. And we have a concept where you can go super deep. You can go all the way. And for other people, going a little bit is a giant step. So it's not about the amount or the depth or the how much emotion. It's about where the person is and what it means to them and how they connect to themselves as themselves. We don't explain it. So all of this, also in the beginning, we don't explain what the process is. We help people experience it. We help people experience their humanity. We help people experience that their identity is less and less important, that everybody as a human being is equal. Of course, we have different roles and different positions, but in our programs, all human beings are equal. Because we all have our own programming in different ways. Mm-hmm. Going then to connect to the authentic self, again, we don't explain the theory. We only explain the frame and how to do it, and then let people do it on their own. If they don't do it, it's up to them. We follow up by making small groups where people can share their stories. And again, there's clear instructions on listening, on helping a person to open up, which is no probing, which is no pushing, but it's more inviting and supporting and listening to the story of another person. And if you look at that dynamic, when are you together with 4 people, that 3 people are listening to your personal story? Something that rarely happens. We're always trying to be better or to show off or to look in a certain way or to people are responding or they come in with their own stories while you are sharing your story. Oh, I also had that. So in this case, it's not. So this deep psychological need. Who are you? Who am I? Do people see me, understand me? So that's the safety that people get, that people are listening and with them. One of the rules is, of course, what's said there stays there. Which is an important element, which also for a culture is important. When in an organizational culture, when your colleague shares a personal story, you're not supposed to share it with other people. And this is something that people apparently have to learn. That dynamic, and that's how it comes out. It's not that people find the process pleasant, but they find the result very pleasant. Because they are allowed to be more themselves. They say, wow, I've worked 25 years with these people, but it's only now that I know them. I'm still shocked every time again, there's people that will say, wow, it's like 15 years, I feel I'm coming home. Or somebody that's new on the job, even a week, or they haven't even started yet, but they do come on one of our journeys and say, wow, I immediately know these people. And immediately there's the trust and the openness and like friends. Some say, yeah, even with my friends, I haven't been that open. And it's simple. It is simple going back to how we are as human beings and what we really, really like and actually need. And in a modern way, you could also call it, there's also healing happening. And the CEO has an important role in the setup. Early in the morning, there will be a why are we here, which is a very special story in only 12 minutes, which creates the frame within all of this is happening. We walk in silence after that. I could almost say like a speech. Then a CEO will open up herself or himself. Talk about their childhood. Talk about their siblings, their parents, what they've experienced in life. As a human being, sitting there, being open.
Wow, that's quite a leap.
Yeah, well, for me, it's normal. I see it happen. And already for 30 years, I see how a group opens up and how people are grateful beyond what you can imagine. That somebody just opens up as a human being. The effect is that the leader becomes more trustworthy to follow. Because a leader that's not open about himself or herself, how open are they about their agenda? How much can you trust them and you follow them? So it does have the boomerang effect in a positive way that people will do more for you when you open up. When you involve them in your own, let's say, person and personality.
So for those listening, tell us a little bit about the setting, the background, because they're not familiar with what your journeys look like and where they are. Yeah,
so what I've just shared is like the first 25% of the program, which is all the staging. And journeys are tools within our transformation programs, just like interventions. And the big transformation programs are there to help a culture grow to this environment where people can flourish, where they can be themselves, where they can cooperate, where they can also different departments can work together, can just cross without being stuck. Oh, I have to ask my boss before I can reach out to that person, where you can ask for advice, where vulnerability is a strength. Being able, hey, I'm not good at this. Can you help me with it? Instead of trying to do it as good as possible, or where instead of being angry at someone, you'll say, hey, I see you're struggling with it. Do you need any help? And then the person doesn't feel attacked. Because, hey, you've learned that somebody's reaching out to help. The interventions we do are 5-day programs into nature, into exceptional, beautiful, natural places. But with a sequence where it's into the unknown. And we move for 5 days, and I can almost say that every hour we move. We never sleep at the same location. We never come back to the same location. We sleep in tents, in trains, on boats, in hostels, in hotels, in all kinds of different places. And we build that for groups, usually 150 people in a group from one company. And often we also do preparation groups with management boards, management teams, executive teams as a preparation for the leadership team journeys. And then we do cascades into the entire organization to reach like to the 20, 30, 50, 80,000 people. But that goes in shorter programs. But the dynamics are the same, is that we use movement and the unknown and our process, the way the design that I described, how we start, use for all of it.
So the creativity part for me is where you go, where you take these people, the way you design the program. So it's a very creative way of unleashing the authentic self, and not just unleashing the authentic self, but getting to know yourself as well.
Yes, I would say that if the moment we take away the programming, you create space for creativity. There's a lot of writing, there's a lot of self-reflection. Self-reflection is key. Taking time to write down your thoughts. Writing down one thought creates the space for the next thought to come. And there's books, there's I think even a study or a course to creativity. Just write 3 pages every morning, what's in your mind, and you become more creative. Just write whatever is bothering you, whatever is with you, write it in the morning, every morning, and you'll have the space. So what happens is that these 59,000 thoughts that are repetitive, they get less of an impact on your day. And then you can see if you can reduce the 59,000, the space up to 60 from 1,000, if you can double it, triple it, quadruple it easily. That's how you become creative. It's to getting your standard patterns out of the way, your normal ways of thinking, because those are in the way. Yeah. And creativity is often, let's say, stopped because of the fear. Who am I to have this idea? Who am I to make it like that? And you can see the artists, many artists, they just do it. They just make it.
Yeah, because, creativity is a skill often associated with artists or, people who have a creative position, not really with leaders. So you're saying that it's important for leaders to also be creative.
Well, I think it's a different type of creativity. As a leader, the way I see it, as a leader, you're there to optimize your team. You're leading people. Or what else are you leading? It's always people that you're leading. And you want to get the best out of those people. And it's not that they work hard. You want to get the best ideas out of those people. You don't do that by creating fear, by chasing them, and by holding them accountable in aggressive ways. But back to the sports team, by coaching them, by supporting them, by understanding them in where they are, you can help them to get the best out of themselves. Then as a leader, you can tap into the different ideas of people, combine that into something new.
Yeah, yeah.
You can, as a leader, there's many ways that you can have the group, your team, come up with the solutions. Instead of thinking that you are the one that has to do it. And it's simple. You're hiring smart people. And if you tap into your top 100, there will be smart solutions. Mm-hmm. And even allowing the system to happen is, even if you know it yourself, allow them to come with it. Creates enormous energy in the group and in the people and trust. And then they will go for more. Learning to use that, to tap into that is creativity. Most companies, they will survive only when they get their innovation right.
Yeah.
Because products will get older, and technology goes super fast, and innovation is the thing. So you have to come up with new ideas, new solutions, new approaches. I would say creativity is everywhere. Even in meetings that you run with your teams, being creative in how you run the meetings. How you make sure that you don't get into a pattern where all the meetings are the same, where you get drained after a meeting, where you're tired after a meeting instead of energized. I think after a meeting you should be energized because you did something exciting together. You solved the problem, you had great ideas together, you understood something better, etc., etc. Going to meetings to do something instead of just information sharing. That can be done in other ways.
Yeah.
So being creative with that, not to try to be creative, but just to if you understand how human beings function, which I think as a leader, it should be one of your focuses, which is also why self-reflection for a leader is so important. Because if you don't understand yourself, your own responses, your own emotions, your own thought patterns, how can you understand someone else? Because you will always see them through your own eyes, through your own ideas. So getting to know yourself better helps to see others better, which means you can also help them grow better.
That wraps up part 2 of our trilogy. We've unpacked what programming really means and discussed the tools and the mindset needed to unravel those patterns at one's own pace. We also reflected on the intersection of leadership and creativity and why this connection is more important than ever. In the next and final part, we go one step further, so stay tuned for part 3.